Hello, I'm Amy Sonnemann, and I am back with part 2 of the takeover of Layle's YouTube channel, where I share advanced die cutting tips and tricks. In this video, we're going to use the MISTI to be able to create perfectly stamped images every time. It makes this process so much easier, and if you've never used a MISTI, you're going to want to invest in one if you love stamping, because it allows you to create a perfect stamped image every single time, and I'm going to show you how to make that happen. First, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our piece of paper. We're going to place our piece of paper with the corner butted up as close as you can to this corner. And what that allows you to do is get a perfect stamped image every time. There are magnets that come with the MISTI. I prefer to use a little bit of removable tape, and I like to tape my paper in place because when it's taped, it is not going to move. So I'm going to tape my paper in place, and you can use the magnets, that's not a problem. I just prefer tape because I know it is not going to move. Sometimes the magnets will shift and then you're like, I don't want you to ruin your project. This tape, which I'll link in the description below, is highlighter tape. And you can use washi tape. This is another option that you can use. I find that this doesn't tear my paper. Sometimes washi tape will tear your paper. To solve that problem, I just take the washi tape and touch it on my hand or on my shirt to make sure it's not as sticky. Once you've done that, you're going to take your stamps and you're going to place them on your piece of paper where you want them to stamp. The set I'm using today is from the Clip It Mini Clips stamp set. I just love these mini clips because you can use them on anything. Cards, traveler's notebooks, just for a quick little note. So fun. So I'm just going to place them on my piece of paper. And this is a great way to use scrap paper because you always have little extra bits of paper left over after you're doing a project. This is perfect for doing that. I always leave a little bit of room to be able to place my dies so that they're not too close together. I'm going to move this down a little bit. What you're going to do is you're going to lower your lid and you're just going to touch those stamps. And then you're going to lift it up. If by chance your paper moves during this process, just push it back into this corner and it'll be perfect every time. Now that we have our stamps on the lid, we're just going to use our VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, which is a pigment ink, and stamp them really well. You're going to apply pressure, and you have a perfect image every time. Now, if for some reason I missed a spot, I can go in a second time because that piece of paper did not move and this stamp platform has not moved. I can go in and stamp it a second time right over the top and get a darker image or fill in any place that maybe you missed a piece of ink. And you get a stamped image that's perfect every time. We're going to try that again. We're going to put our paper in this corner. We're going to tape it down. This time I'm going to pretend like I inked it, but it wasn't enough, which it's not. Very light, I didn't ink it, but you can see exactly where each stamp is. This is the beauty of having a MISTI. As long as this paper is positioned in this corner and doesn't move, you can go back in a second time and fix any mistakes that you have made. In this case, it wasn't dark enough. I needed it to be darker to make it look pretty. So I inked it up again. I stamped my stamps. And you can't tell that that was stamped twice. With a stamping block, you could never do that. You are stuck with whatever you get when you just use a stamping block. I will link the MISTI in the comments below as well if you've never tried one. It is one of the most revolutionizing stamping tools I have ever used because I don't waste paper, I don't waste time, I get a beautiful stamped image every time. So highly, highly recommend a stamp platform from MISTI if you are into stamping and you want to get more, involved and collect more stamps. Highly recommend this product. The nice thing about the stamping tool is as long as I have these stamps on the cover or the lid of my MISTI, I can stamp over and over and over again. I don't have to worry about stamping them one at a time. I can stamp multiples. Say I'm doing a big project and I need 15 for a project that you're doing, whether it be anything from cards to invitations to a class. Class kits are super easy to do this. So we're just going to go the same thing. Ink it up, stamp it. You're ready to go. If there's a spot that you didn't like, stamp it again. Quick, easy, fast, and you're done. Go in, place another piece in, tape it down, or use your magnet. Some people love the magnets. Same thing. Oh, well, that's not dark enough. I need to do it again. Stamp it a second time. Even if you needed to stamp it a third time, maybe right there could be a little darker. I can go back in and stamp it a third time. So cool, fast, easy, makes stamping so much easier and way less frustrating. Before we put the MISTI away, we're just going to clean off our stamps. I clean them with just a chamois. If you don't have a stamp chamois, I will link to one below. The one from Lawn Fawn is absolutely wonderful. Highly recommend that. Before you're finished, you're going to want to just tap off your stamps with a microfiber cloth so that there's no fuzzies on it, because if you have fuzzy pieces on your stamp, it's going to transfer with the ink. So you're going to see it when you stamp. Now, say you want to have some really fun designs in a pattern. And all of the patterns that are small work beautifully for die cutting. Instead of coloring an image, you can just pick a piece of pattern paper that maybe matches your project and create these mini clips in a matching pattern. Same thing, I'm going to tape my paper down. I'm going to ink my stamps and transfer them onto my patterned paper. Say I want them a little darker. I'm going to stamp them a second time. You still see all the fun details, and now you can go and die cut them. Because let's face it, it's more fun to have fun colors on your clips than just plain white. Now, on the plain white, you can ink them. You can ink blend a color on top. You can color them with markers, with colored pencils. Lots of fun options. You can even put a layer of glaze over the top to give it a shiny look if you choose. Now let's go ahead and cut them and see how pretty they are once they're die cut. The next thing I'm going to talk about is placing your dies on your paper. Now, in the first video, I just showed you how to cut one at a time. And that's great, but sometimes you want to be more efficient and you want to die cut a bunch of things at a time. Like in this stamp set, there are 5 different stamps with coordinating dies. I don't want to cut just one at a time if I know I want a set of all of them. This time I'm going to show you how easy it is to do multi-cuts at one time. If you decide you want to get into die cutting and absolutely love it, today I'm using an electric die cutting machine from Anna Griffin. It's the Impress Mini. The plates are much bigger than the small that we used earlier. So you've got a lot more surface space to be able to place your dies, and it makes cutting a breeze. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each Stampin' Die set and we're going to line it up and adhere the die to the paper with a piece of that tape. It is the same tape we used with the MISTI. That's the highlighter tape. And you're able to cut all of those at once. Okay? Now when you cut, there's a magnetic sheet. You're going to want to place your images cutting side up. So you're going to basically flip them over. Cutting side will be cutting up into the clear plate, not the magnetic plate. So you're going to make your sandwich. So there'll be a clear plate on the bottom, a magnetic plate in the middle. You'll also have your stamped images with your dies attached, and then another clear plate. You're going to take that, you're going to turn on your machine, and you're going to hit run. It's going to cut all 5 at a time. This is a brand new plate and a brand new platform. So you're going to see where it cuts into the plate. That's normal. You want that. Otherwise, if it's not cutting into the plate, it's not cutting the paper through with the die. Then you're going to take each one, you're going to pop them out. And quickly and easily you have die cut 5 of the mini clips in one pass. Now, if by chance you get a little bit of the adhesive on your die and it feels a little sticky, just take an eraser and that little sticky part comes right off. There's a little bit of stickiness right there. And it just comes off. You can rub it with your finger, or you can also just take an eraser and erase it off. But you have all of these little images that you can use on a project in one pass. Now, to make it even more efficient, now this is perfect for all of your scraps. You know, you could easily stamp and cut them all at once. I've left them on one sheet, and you can put them down all at the same time. The trick is leaving enough room in between each of the stamped images to be able to place your die. So once you get it where you want it, you add your adhesive. And then you go to the next one. This is the more time-consuming part because you have to get each one aligned. But once it's aligned, you're good to go. I have all of my dies aligned the way I want them aligned. I'm going to flip it over on my magnetic shim. I'm going to put my sandwich back together, which is a clear plate, the magnetic plate, the paper with the dies, and then another clear plastic plate. I'm going to hit run. And when we're finished, you have dies perfectly cut out every time. I also want to show you a troubleshooting hack in case your die does not cut all the way through your paper. Sometimes thicker paper will do that. Sometimes if you have 2 dies too close together, it doesn't give you the pressure that it needs. and there's two of them that didn't pop out 100% as nicely as I would like. Inside of your Impress die machine, when you get it, you're going to get a metal shim. You're going to put an A plate down, you're going to add that metal shim, and then you're going to put your magnet piece back down over the metal shim. Then we're going to place the pieces that are still taped, so they haven't moved. We're going to place them back in the machine with our top on it, like so. And we're going to run it through again with the shim. You heard the cracking, that's 100% normal. All of them pop out super easy. Sometimes I use that metal shim all the time. For certain dies, you may need it, you may not, and that's okay. But please know that the metal shim is the perfect solution if you're not getting a clean cut with your die. How fun was it to create all of these die cut pieces in just a few simple passes? Wait till I show you what it looks like with the patterned paper. Super quick, super easy, and absolutely adorable. Let's do that next. Off camera, I went ahead and aligned all of my dies and taped them down. I am using the shim. I'm placing my dies upside down, putting my top plate on and running them through the die cut machine. With the shim, they pop out super easy. And look at the fun designs that you can have quick and easily in one simple pass. I hope you have enjoyed part 2 of the die cutting series. Stay tuned for part 3, where I go even more in depth and show you how to make die cutting quicker and even easier. I have even more tricks, so be sure to watch part 3. Thanks for watching and have a great day.